you're probably right. I will reinstall it one more time. Make sure I know where this is going this time. Because I said open it, it says, do you want to install the macro? Yes. Okay, it's now installed. So I run this. This is what this macro will do is give me a map of all the caches in the database. So if I do that, I'm having computer issues here. There we go. You will see this happens to be set up for topo maps, so I'll change that. Just go to regular Google Maps. This has a list of all these caches, and each one of these I can click on. We'll slowly zoom in and start to see them popping up. And each one I can click it, see more what's in that area. Interesting. And as you can see, this functionality was not in GSAK to start with, to do multiple maps like this, or multiple cache maps. But by adding this one program, which took 1 minute, once I figured out what the heck I was doing, it's done.
It's good for hiding caches when you use that 1/10 circle.
You use that one?
Yeah.
There's as you saw when I was on the page, there's tons and tons of these macros out there. I'll get my browser going up. There it is. And most of them are, not most of them, all of them are supported by the author. So if you write a macro yourself somehow, post it out on the bulletin board, you would be the guy that would be expected to support it. I've actually deleted things off of this database that I wrote because it didn't work anymore. I saw people calling me and asking about them for old versions. Another one that people like that is more for running on your finds, and it's called Find Stat Generator. This is probably the most popular macro. We'll go here, go all the way to the bottom.
Where do you find these macros? How did you get to these screens?
All right, I'm in the GSAK message boards. Let me start out all the way back to the beginning. So if you go to support.gsac.net.
They have a link on GSAK. There's a link.
Oh, to get to the macro library?
If you click on the macro drop down and click on Run Manage, there's an online macro index link.
You know that, so you learn something every day, right?
It's
Online macro index. Oh, that's handy. I don't think I've ever used that. So if you go there, just open up another one. This happens to go to the one that's like the gigantic list of all macros, which may or may not be useful, depending on what you're looking for. If you don't like that, in the same database, or the same bulletin board, down here, you have, this is that same master index. You've also got various and sundry other macros that are there, categories, and go within the category. Well, what's in this category? Well, for the sake of argument, let's just look at imports and exports. Somebody was asking me about DeLorme exports. Okay, so I can come down here, DeLorme. Okay, what does this do? It's got a bunch of different things specific to DeLorme's. GPX export to DeLorme Topo 8 drawway. Do I really know what that is? No. Do I care? No. But obviously somebody needed that and wanted to use it. So when you have some functionality that you feel you just don't have, or it's hard to use, or whatever, this is the place to look to find things that are helpful.
Is there a board there that tells you which are the most popular or the most, the better ones, I guess, per se?
Sort of. I guess there is a what they call a macro support board that is a combination of people asking for help that have downloaded a macro and it doesn't work the way they want it to work, and people trying to write macros that can't figure out what they're doing wrong. So you look in there, you can see which ones have, a whole lot of commentary about it, about, this could be improved, blah, 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 blah. You'll see these get updated pretty often because geocaching.com changes their file formats, GSAK changes, all these things change, so people update things to manage the changes to the programs.
Do you you guys who use macros over there, do you have favorite ones? I know you mentioned you like that one because it helps you hide caches.
Yeah, it shows me, I can query a bunch of caches in the area, I'm thinking about hiding like Petrifying Springs, for instance. And it'll show me a 10th radius around there, every cache in the park, so I can take my pointer, my pin, and put it somewhere else and get coordinates, so I know.
Do you know the
where to
name
go
of it?
to.
Is it called 10 foot?
Huh?
Does it start with having number 10 in it?
No. It's,
Not 10.
Google Earth, go down to Google Earth, go down to G, it's a Google Earth macro. Go down to Google Earth,
Let's see if it's on there.
that's what it is.
All right, forget it. I'll do it the way I started. Back. Google. I think it's in this one. Circles and polygons.
There you go.
Google Earth.
Any other ones you guys have heard of that are very popular, helpful for average people?
I use GPX, GPX my cache knife for my newbie. And what it does is it will separate, when you go to look at your caches, it will separate between traditional, multis, events, and everything. It will separate them all for you. And as you're driving through, you can set a radius. You get within 1,000 feet of a cache, it will actually give you your GPS. So you know that you're within 1,000 feet of the cache and you have not found yet.
Yeah, you'll find a lot of macros are for specific GPSs or specific exports to other programs where, okay, I'm already using some special mapping program that I like. How do I get the data out of GSAK into there? Will somebody write a macro to generate the right kind of file? And like I say, I don't personally use it because I'm not a big stats guy, but if you like stats and like to see, all sorts of different ways of breaking down your finds, this find stat gen macro is pretty much the state of the art on that. Pretty much everybody else stopped writing stat macros after this came out.
Do you mind just doing general questions then? Because we're kind of near the end, I guess.
Absolutely not.
Sure.
So, any general questions? Oh, that was easy. Yes.
Some of the, challenge caches, they ask you to have, prove that you've done a certain number of caches in this type or whatever. Is there a way to copy and paste this into Excel so you can attach it to email to whoever needs it?
Yes. If you want to copy to Excel, that's already just regular. By the way, there's also, for a lot of these macros, or a lot of these challenges, people have written macros just to show them. But for your question, get out of this for a second, you just go here to File, Export, and then you want to do this, CSV file or TXT, and essentially what you want to do when you run that type of export is get your view set up with the columns you want to show up in Excel. You don't want to have 87 columns like you normally look at. Make a new view just for that purpose. And then hit go, and you'll get a CSV file, and then you just open that up in Excel, and it'll automatically do it. Now, I know it doesn't have XLS as an option, but CSV is the old-fashioned way.
Is there a filter to specifically filter out someone else's caches? Like, for instance, I want to find my wife's caches. So is there a way that I can filter her caches out when I do the database download? You can
Yes.
your caches.
Yes,
You
in
can-
advance.
You can do it in GSAK, but you can't do that on Pocket Query.
Right.
If you go here to this, get geocaches, if that's the way you're doing it, you come to the Advanced tab, you can see exclude owned by or owned by.
Okay.
Do you see behind me?
How did you get there to start with?
Oh, start over. You go geocaching.com access,
Okay.
get geocaches, just like we showed before.
Right.
But then you have this Advanced tab,
Okay.
and this has some other stuff. Now, all the other stuff on the Basic tab still applies, plus anything you put on the Advanced tab.
That's all so good for team caching, when you're out with a bunch of people, you can filter out, non-found ones by everybody in the group.
I'm not certain if you can do multiple names on this exclude. You
Up to
can?
5.
Up to 5? Okay.
With a comment, so.
That's why we brought you here, Tom.
Pardon me?
That's why we brought you here, to answer that question. And you notice also it has available here that you can choose your download based on favorite points. So if you're into that, you can tell it, okay, I only want caches for 10 favorite points or more. Good if you like to drive. Anything else? Okay.
Hey, if all you guys enjoyed this today, not everyone is here now that was here earlier, but on the cache page for the event, I'm the owner of the cache page. It's just click on that so you can email me like your thoughts regarding the event, each of the talks. We didn't give you a handout for each of the talks to kind of critique it and what you'd like next time and that. We'll do an event like this in the future, so please email me your thoughts and what you'd like to see, things that weren't so great, that kind of thing for the future. Thanks. Better internet access.
One more question.
Yes.
Well, I just want to thank you for doing this.
Yes.
Oh, you
Really?
So you don't really have a question?
No.
Okay.
No, I just want to thank you guys.
You said you were recording the previous stuff earlier today. How, when are we gonna be able to have access to look at that?
Yeah, so all the stuff today, each of the talks, thanks to Tim here, who's the techie person. He said 2 weeks, and so 2 weeks, and all the talks will be